Hi, I'm Verena Hartman. This is my husband Ken. In the previous video, we began to explain step 1 in the 7-step decision-making process to form a healthy marriage. Step 1 has the goal of enabling a single adult who desires to marry to evaluate whether he or she is prepared for marriage. Would you believe that most people desiring to marry might neglect or disregard this step? Compared to marriage preparation, would you be surprised if more thought and preparation go into learning to drive a vehicle, preparing for a job, or qualifying to rent an apartment or buy a house?
Yeah. In this short video, we will talk about the method applied in step 1 to evaluate an individual's preparedness for marriage. It incorporates what is called first principles thinking. It's a problem-solving technique used in business to enable innovation. It guides you to ask yourself and answer meaningful questions which clarify your beliefs about love and marriage.
First principles thinking is about distilling and refining your understanding of something into its most essential parts or first principles. Then you reason from them to discover solutions. In business, those first principles or truths could be something like genuine customer needs. After affirming what those needs are, you can decide the best way to satisfy those needs. In terms of evaluating readiness for marriage, first principles thinking leads you to define and discover the nature of a healthy adult, the nature of a healthy marriage, and to reason toward clarifying the qualities of a healthy adult who is prepared for marriage.
We discussed many of those qualities in A Better Way to Marry. They include the capacities for empathy, forgiveness, gratitude, resilience, and optimism. When you put together your answers to basic questions, they can reveal patterns about your life from which you can evaluate your preparedness for marriage.
The Greek philosopher Aristotle appears to have coined the term first principles thinking. He provided the first account of using this problem-solving technique. Importantly, Aristotle cautioned the problem solver to never accept common knowledge without questioning it.
Entrepreneur Elon Musk attributes first principles thinking to partly account for his success with ventures like Tesla and SpaceX. Other CEOs of prominent technology companies and scientists also use it.
When we apply first principles thinking to question common knowledge about love and marriage in our popular culture, we must ask, is it genuinely knowing at all? If a belief that underlies knowledge is not true and not rooted in reality, it is not knowledge. At best, it might be a myth. Yes, certainly, myths might have a useful purpose. They could point to some other truth about human experience. However, we must be willing to make the effort to discover what that other truth and meaning might be. Otherwise, thoughtlessly following a myth could lead you to make very bad decisions and cause harm.
Yeah.
If you recklessly believe that no matter how big the obstacle, love will conquer all, then stalking can be justified in the pursuer's mind.
Consider the soulmate belief. It's that two souls, two single adults, are an incomplete, predestined half of the other. They are each in search of the other to become whole. A supernatural force like Cupid or angels guide them to find one another. When they do connect, they fall in love, feel whole, and experience excitement and euphoria. These two soulmates will be a match made in heaven. Their connection will solve all their problems, and they will live happily ever after.
The origins of this myth are traced to Plato's philosophical writing called the Symposium, and to religious and spiritual predestination views about the divine origin of marriages. Plato's Symposium is a series of speeches about love given by men who were guests at a drinking party after a banquet in an aristocrat's home. Symposium in ancient Greece was not a dignified conference as the word means today, On the contrary, imagine an all-men's party with heavy drinking and dancing girls, and where guys are prone to exaggeration in their storytelling.
In Plato's story, one of the guests, Aristophanes, who is a comedy writer, explains how love works in his wild fantasy about the origin of human beings. They were originally strange and powerful creatures. They were two persons fused together. They had two faces, 4 hands and 4 legs, and they had but one soul. They moved fast like cartwheels. Fearing that they threatened the gods, Zeus, the king of the gods, cut him in half in order to diminish their power. So each human was left with half a soul, 2 arms and 2 legs to roam the earth. So each human has this impulse of love in order to connect in search of their other half or their other soul.
Aristophanes explained that is why when a man and woman connect with their other half, their soulmate, they experience the intense euphoric feeling of oneness and wholeness. However, while humans desire their soulmate, they do not know what they want or need from their soulmate. Aristophanes cautioned that when being united with their soulmate, if they do not worship the God of love, they will be separated again.
Yes. Today, the soulmate myth falsely idealizes that when you fall in love, you will experience wholeness and achieve fulfillment to live happily ever after. From childhood Disney movies to Hollywood and Bollywood romance movies, music and novels, the soulmate myth has been perpetuated because it's profitable. It appeals to deep human longings for emotional, transcendent, exclusive, and everlasting relationships.
Anthropologist Helen Fisher with other neuroscientists used brain scanning machines to study romantic love. They observed that the experience of falling in love suppresses areas of the brain that control critical thinking. It produces a drug-induced high, like addictive drugs such as cocaine, and a sickness resembling negative emotions like craving, anxiety, obsession, and fear.
The temporary and involuntary experience of falling in love is counterfeit love. It's not nurturing and it's short-lived. It cannot sustain a healthy marriage. Obsession and love sickness are not the signs of true love.
First principles thinking does not lead to perfectionistic ideas. In our book, A Better Way to Marry, you will discover that preparedness for marriage is not about being a flawless individual who is fully formed. It is about the ordinary day-to-day qualities of good character. Entry-level readiness for marriage is about putting aside unrealistic expectations and forming realistic expectations. It is about putting aside fantasy beliefs of waiting to suddenly find your perfect soulmate who is pre-packaged in heaven for you. It is realizing that couples become soulmates by skillfully nurturing the soul of one another.
Yes, humans tend to overestimate what God, Cupid, or the angels should do and underestimate what they should do. We often seek satisfaction in things that are not true, nor provide lasting fulfillment.
Our book provides over 200 questions and their meanings to choose from that will guide you to discover for yourself the basics of a healthy adult who is prepared for marriage. They are questions that, if you honestly answer, can enable you to evaluate your readiness for marriage. You can do the same for someone you are considering as a potential lifelong partner in marriage.
Join us next time when we will talk about searching for love in all the wrong places.